Aaron Rodgers has, of all the things that could go wrong on your body, and anything and everything can go wrong when you're playing in the NFL, he still is dealing with the pinky toe. The pinky toe that was somehow injured, he said, at some point during his COVID break, and we still haven't gotten a clear story on how he actually got injured. If only he had multiple ways per week where he was in a position where he could talk about these things. And he does talk about these things. And for a guy who last week was complaining about how much the coaching staff may be talking to reporters about his medical information, he still has no qualms delving into the details about the toe, where it currently is, and where it may go from here. Here's the latest. Tuesday with Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers' pinky toe update.
I did get some great information about my foot. There was nothing really revolutionary. There was no mindset change or anything. The biggest key is rest. I wish that there was another one of these weeks so I could, get 14 to 21 great days without doing anything. But, the toe is improving, and we'll see how it feels later in the week. I think any decision that's made would be one that allows me to play. I'm not going to miss any games. I've obviously played with much bigger injuries, different parts of my body, and this, although it's a small pinky toe, it's definitely painful and creates some issues, but I'm not going to miss any games because of it.
Yeah. Okay, he's not going to miss any games because of it until somebody steps on it again.
Yeah, right.
Because now everybody knows, and he's painted the bullseye on the pinky toe by repeatedly talking about it. That's the irony here. A guy who bristles at the idea that anybody may be talking about him talks nonstop about the injury, and we all thought it was his big toe. And until he says it's his pinky toe, you don't know.
Yeah, right.
And the defenders don't know. Whatever happened to being concerned about the opposing players knowing too much about where you're vulnerable because they're going to accidentally, or as the case may be, accidentally step on that toe in the scrum of bodies that's going. And I'm not saying anybody's going to intentionally stomp on it. Not like, a guy like Ndamukong Suh would ever intentionally stomp on someone's injured body part like he did to Aaron Rodgers several years ago. And as Pete points out, in Ndamukong Suh's defense, his foot had gone numb, so he didn't quite know where he was pushing down with his cleat. Yeah. He just didn't know. Sorry,
I saw that. That was kind of cool, actually.
I don't have a soundboard, but I got to do what I can. But bottom line is, the more he says, the more the defenders know. I just wonder if that's even occurring to him. Like, Aaron, wouldn't it have been fine for you to just be questionable toe, full practice toe, limited practice toe? There's 10 of them. You got a pretty good chance they're going to step on the wrong toe if they don't know which one is vulnerable. I like the fact that he talks so much, but I just wonder how self-aware he really is, because he seems to me to be a very self-aware guy for the most part. He's got some blind spots, and I guess this is one of them. He's got no qualms about talking about his toe and which toe it is, and showing it. Showing which foot it is.
That was great. We could have gone without that.
If it's a pinky toe,
right,
you still go 50-50. He showed us which foot.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly sharing a lot of information. You're right, and that's right. That's where I think like you and I get confused when, information gets used last week from other sources where he gets mad. But anyways, he's going to say it. And I understand he has a right to explain his own life, over everybody else. I get that. But, I mean, if he's blabbing to all of us on the Pat McAfee show, I'm sure he's blabbing to other people behind the scenes, too, and other people know what's going on. Now, I don't look at this as being an issue. I don't. Again, we've discussed this a little bit. I guess these are the logic a little, too, of like, hey, if I'm on the injury report for toe, then everybody knows there's a toe, and you could just step on one of the feet and figure it out. But it's a different league in the NFL now, too. Guys don't look to do that anymore. That, goes back to our original conversation to start the show. Maybe back in the 70s and 80s, You know, and I'm not trying to call anybody dirty. It's just
Talk
the way
to Rodney.
Well,
Talk to Rodney.
Well, yeah, Rodney had some of that, 80s, late 90s mindset. You're right.
I don't think it was just him, though.
No, but I feel like it's whittled away in the NFL as far as those type of players to where they look to go, oh, that's hurt? Let me hit that a lot today. Now it's like, oh, it's not cool. I might see Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. That's kind of dirty, and it gets frowned upon. I mean, I don't. It doesn't bother me within reason. I mean, if you're seeking him out and trying to like stomp on his foot, then that is dirty and crazy. But as far as the play on the field, I mean, we discussed. Hey, we've seen 2 games with this injury. I don't know. He looks better than ever. So I'm not worried about it at all. And as far as like teams they play this weekend, we know you got the Bears on Sunday Night Football. They got a little bit of pass rush. Mobility will be an issue as far as like he needs to be able to move to get out of the way of some of these guys. Robert Quinn's rushing the passer well. They got some creative blitzes, but again, I don't think this is going to affect Rodgers, Green Bay, and I still think he's going to be able to play at a very high MVP-ish type level, which is the level he's played at the whole year other than week 1.
And I want to circle back to this. I'm not saying that Rodney was the only one. Rodney came from
I
a
know.
time when the nomenclature was testing the injury.
Yes,
we're going to test.
That's right.
The area. We're going to test it, and there was a greater concern. Hey, just back last year, for crying out loud, Tom Brady had a torn MCL, fully torn MCL in his knee that he took great pains to stabilize and work on and allow himself to go out and play. And it was never on a single injury report. Nobody knew he had a knee problem, and nobody tested.
Yeah, tested
the
it
knee.
out.
And I understand it has changed. And despite the lingering presence of Ndamukong Suh in the NFL, who has stomped on a guy's arm, pushed a foot into a guy's crotch on Thanksgiving Day, hey, enjoy your turkey, and also stomped on the injured calf of Aaron Rodgers several years ago. I mean, I think there are still some guys out there who at the bottom of the pile or whenever they think they can get away with it are going to try to get away with it.
Yeah, no, I do. I think there is some of that. But, I think to your point and what we're talking about, that it's been whittled away through the years for sure. And Ndamukong Suh is, the poster child in the league for that right now. I can't think of anybody like just off the top of my head. But I think your like point you bring up about, hey, test the injury. Yeah, that was a real thing. I understand that. I think if I was coaching a team, you told me a running back, had a thigh bruise or a thigh issue, or I'd be going, hey, let's aim for his thigh. Put your head and shoulder right in his thigh. Let's see how is it really working. And again, I got no issue with that. To me, that's goes under rubbing is racing. This is football. We're not here to, it's not band practice or choir. You know what you signed up for. You got an injury. You're going to talk about it. I mean, I would expect the other team to test it. Now, there's a little different type of thing as far as, like, you have to be blatant to test it out or, like, step on it. It's going to be hard to be subtle and figure that one out. But I don't know. At the end of the day, hey, Rodgers, he's having fun talking this year. That's for sure. He's playing good football. The Packers are damn good. And it was surgery or not, I don't think I'm worried about this injury at all.
On this point that we've been discussing, I'm going to read a quote for you, and I'm going to have you guess who said it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
New quote.
Right.
Fairly new. It's a story I was working on. A little copy-paste snarky comment just before the program.
Okay, is it somebody playing now, or is it old days?
Yes.
Okay.
No, right now.
Okay,
right now.
Great. Yep.
The game I'm going to have to paraphrase a bit because it'll give it away. Today, football is more of a skills competition than it is a physical game. It's like being in the boxing ring and saying, don't hit your opponent because you might hurt him. Look, we're both able to protect ourselves. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. Let's go. Who said that?
Well, I don't know. The fact that it said "let's go," I want to say that's Tom Brady at the end.
It is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I left out the part where he says the game I played 20 years ago is very different from the
that
game
kind of
now.
gave it away.
Because I would have given it away.
He's the only guy. Right.
But he said that at least 3 times now.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
This regret that, at some point you got to protect yourself. It's on you to protect yourself, not look for a flag because you made – and you talk about this all the time. This is where you and Brady are of like mind when it comes to it's on you to protect yourself. It's on you to throw a football that doesn't get your receiver blown up. And it's not on you to set your guy up to get blown up so you can get 15 extra yards out of it.
No, exactly right. It's kind of been lost in translation over the last few years in the NFL. And it's disappointing. It's the physicality of the game. That advantage is not as big as it was 15, 20 years ago. Where, you could have a team that, might not be as skillful, but, man, they're big, they're physical, they hit, and they keep the game close. And as the game goes on, they just out-hit you, and they kind of beat the other team into submission. And we know there was a lot of teams through the 80s and 90s like that. Man, the early 2000 Patriots, I mean, that's the way they were built. We're just going to be bigger than you. We're not going to be the sexiest thing in the world. And, through 4 quarters, our size and physicality is going to wear you down. I mean, you heard that the other night I'm sure that's what Belichick loves about his team right now. He's got an old school team. You heard that the other night. That's all McDermott was worried about from what you heard from, Louis Riddick and Brian Griese. The physicality of the Patriots. They brought it up like 5 times in the first half. Yeah, he's old school, but within the rules. But, it's a real aspect. And to me, I don't look at it, hey, Thomas Davis hit me. I lost my spleen. I almost died. Well, in this day and age in the NFL, it would have been an illegal hit. He led with his helmet. He hit me, with the crown of his helmet right in the stomach. I don't look at it ever as his fault. What the hell was I thinking? He was bearing down on me. I should have thrown the ball away quicker, ducked, got the hell out of the way, turned my body. So yes, I know what I signed up for, and I do think it's a shame a little bit that some of that physicality has been taken away because it's hard to have that 85 Bears, 2,000 Ravens defense this day and age in the NFL, where not only are they talented, but they could intimidate you before the game even started. Where you're just going, man, I'm going to go over the middle today against this group. Oh gosh, and teams might not even call plays to go over the middle, or receivers would be really reluctant and didn't even need to get hit because they just go, I saw enough on film this week that I don't want to go over there. And then, oh, wait, the quarterback and receiver, they can't connect today. Well, he's got Ray Lewis nightmares in the back of his head, and he can't catch the ball. And I do miss that aspect of football. It has been taken away.
As to Aaron Rodgers, one of the things he would like to have is another extended break, and the only way to get that is to be the 1 seed in the NFC. This is the second year of only one team getting 2 weeks between the last game of the regular season and the first game of the postseason. And for Rodgers, of course, and I think this would be a place where irony would be the appropriate word to use.
Yeah.
I never quite know, as I say from time to time, thanks to that damn song. But the irony for Rodgers, if he misses the bye by 1 game, is the fact that he missed a game not due to the toe, but due to being COVID positive because he was unvaccinated secretly and ended up not playing in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they need that bye. And we're going to have a draft later in the program of the teams that need the bye the most. But I have a feeling whoever gets the first pick is probably going to say the Packers just because Rodgers is on record saying I really would like to have another break. And he's not going to get it, if at all, until he plays 5 more games, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think you add that, like they're going to be at the top of the list regardless because of that, like what you talked about there. And then, I mean, we just have so much evidence. I mean, I know they lost the NFC Championship game at home last year, but man, Green Bay at home still, it's a real thing. In the cold weather, once it gets December and later, I mean, they're almost unbeatable up there in Green Bay. And that's where it is a great home field advantage. Rodgers and Green Bay are comfortable there. It's a different stadium with how it makes you feel on the field. And then, of course, the elements do play a real factor where teams go in there and, you try to psych yourself up like, oh, it's not that cold. And, hey, we're the Giants in 2016, right? Remember all the wide receivers, Sterling Shepard, OBJ, they went out in pregame warm-ups and didn't have their shirts on. But then the game came and they were dropping passes and the cold was affecting them. I mean, it's a real thing when you go up there, and it's certainly important for them, and it is ironic, don't you think?
A little too ironic, I really do think.
Yes.
And the other factor, remember, when we talk about outdoor games this year, everything is pushed back a week because of the extra
I know,
game.
You're right.
And that NFC Championship, January 30.
Ooh.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
AFC as well.
Bring your gloves
and
and mittens.
in both conferences.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.